Okay, everybody. We are, as everybody knows, we are always anxiously awaiting the Facebook Live. So I am joined with Kim Everett. Zoom says we're preparing. Here we go. And I've learned that like halfway through the preparing, we actually are live. So the content of this meeting is being sent to Facebook. I don't know what that means. Let's check. Kim, how are you? Oh, look, no, we're live. Isn't that great? Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Jennifer Cardella, and I am once again joined by Kim Everett, the executive director of BCHIP, who is responsible for coordinating health services in Bucks County. Kim, how are you right before the holidays?
I am well. Thank you, Dr. Gardella. Looking forward to the holidays. Yes.
Are you? Good for you. As we know, many people are not, right? There's a lot of people that suffer in different ways from different types of mental health, and either their family is not mentally healthy for them to be around, or their family is not mentally healthy and comes anyway, which, which
True.
sadly we can laugh about it. I know I've been in that situation plenty of times. So while, you kind of laugh as you make fun of yourself, like I always do, it's actually not fun to go through. So one thing that we wanted to talk to everyone about today is different services that are available to our listeners and our viewers that where they can reach out for help. So Kim, we didn't really plan this one out. So you want to start with a couple of mental health services?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think I'll just start by saying, life is not what it looks like on Facebook, right? And so, truly, I think so many folks hold themselves accountable to a standard or thinking that everything is so blissful all the time in everybody else's lives except theirs, right? And so I think to me, that's just such an important message. I know that our partner, NAMI Bucks County, the National Association of Mental Illness, they do a great job. I'm sure they have lots of resources on their website as well. I know that I've seen a lot of their social media posts around this topic, that we're talking about. The first thing that comes to mind for me as far as, making sure we're keeping ourselves healthy during this time is being able to, express or release those emotions, right? If you are upset, being able to express that, calling, reaching out to someone that you can trust and talk to about it. Um, if you need to, make your social circle smaller or bigger, depending on what you need to do to kind of keep yourself healthy and not what everybody else thinks you need to be doing. Asking for help, right? And I know you asked me for resources and we can get to those too, but um, there's always 988 if someone is, truly really feeling that they need support services. 988 is a great resource. You don't have to be in immediate crisis to use 988
Sure.
resources. So 988 is a great resource, and you can call 988, you can text 988. We have some good local resources as well. Lenape Valley Foundation and Penn Foundation are two great resources. Forge Health is another great resource. So we do have a lot of resources available, but I think more importantly is just knowing yourself and when you're at that point that you need to either set a healthy limit or reach out to a friend or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I was going to say to add to that also, sometimes we need to go into the holidays and set boundaries with the people that we're going to be spending time with. The very simple ones, even, if you're not successful getting pregnant yet, or you're not married, and you know that old Aunt Ida is going to, pester you, that can be incredibly triggering, really depressing, create anxiety, and there needs to be some way where you protect yourself. Else in the family talks to her or him, whoever it is that's going to do this to you. We have a no politics rule that I set in my family because we all get along pretty well until we start discussing politics. And with different views around the table, that can be incredibly harmful. We don't, we just don't want to, everyone knows how to separate in their own corners and talk to their people that are aligned with them. But when we're all together, off the table completely. So I think that's really important. So don't be scared to set boundaries with people in your life. And also another big thing that I've learned with all my mental health journey after, especially in the last few years, and this is really hard to get used to. So do not think anybody out there that I say this flippantly, alone is actually okay. So you're better off alone than with the wrong people. Now, alone can be really depressing. And we acknowledge that fully, but sometimes that's better than in a toxic situation. So, something else that I've been learning is that there's a lot of people that don't have people to spend the holidays with. And so, check in on your people, right? And Kim and I were just joking that we often have people around our tables that don't have anywhere else to go.
Yep. And it's so true, right? And I think sometimes people just fail to realize, first of all, I know I can speak for myself. I get so busy with what's right in front of me sometimes for the holiday that I don't think to reach out to that person that might be struggling.
Right?
And so what I would say is, gosh, I have so many people in my life that I really care about. And if one of them were struggling and didn't say, hey, I know you're busy, but I need some help, I'd be pretty disappointed, right? Like I want to think that I'm the person that they could call. And I think a lot of people would feel the same way. And so, most people aren't, or many people, I shouldn't say most, but aren't really alone. It's just that they have to have that little bit of courage, I think, to get over that hump, to reach out to anyone, to whoever that person might be in their life that they could talk to.
Yeah, and another great way to kick the alone habit, and this is a little tricky this time in the season to start to plan it, but go volunteer somewhere.
Yep, yep, that's true.
Get out, serve Christmas. You'll exhaust yourself, right? And
Yep.
then you're set for the rest, like you've done a really good service for someone. You've been around people and been out. There's usually camaraderie with volunteers. And then you're too tired to go anywhere for the rest of the day. And then you can kind of check out on, but that's sometimes what it's all about. It's just getting out and doing some good work and uh, being around people who you're supporting rather than people who are draining you, because that is what we want to avoid. And like Kim said, if you come home from Christmas dinner with people that you celebrate with, and you are at the edge of overwhelm, reach out. 988 is an amazing resource and it is free and completely anonymous. So
Yes,
it's
it's a
amazing.
great tool.
Yeah. And so then we also wanted to turn our attention today, I guess it does fall under mental health. I'm not sure what the right wording is, but this idea of addiction. Right? And addiction rears its ugly head at the holidays because there is a lot of booze flowing around, especially when you are around people that you don't necessarily gel with on a regular basis. And I think the first part when you're talking about addiction at the holidays is you have to remember, and this is something that only has passed across my reading on the internet recently. If you have people at your table who are walking with addiction or have kicked addiction or struggling in some way, don't have booze around. It's not that hard.
Isn't that fascinating though? And I will tell you, Jennifer, and it's funny because we did not script today's interview.
Right.
Um, but even just like there are times in my life for whatever different reason, I was like, okay, I don't want to drink, whether it was I was, trying to lose weight or whatever it may have been, just for whatever purpose. And the social norms around alcohol are fascinating to me because God forbid, like I would go to dinner with friends or family and they'd be like, oh, everyone would order and I would not order alcohol. And it's, oh, you're not drinking? Why are you not drinking? You have to have a drink. And I'm like, whoa, like I really don't. Like I don't drink that much to start with, right? So the social norms around drinking to me are fascinating. And so to your point, I think people, need to be aware of that at the holidays. And if someone, politely declines or is not drinking, maybe you're not aware they're struggling with substance use disorder, you know,
Right.
but they just politely decline. You don't have to say why, right? Or let me try to force what I'm doing onto you, right? Just respect their limit of whatever they're doing and move on. If they want to open up or discuss the why or who, or they certainly will. And obviously, just by doing this interview, I'm a pretty open book. So I never had a problem saying my why. If somebody asked me, oh, why aren't you drinking? Well, I don't know. I'm trying to lose 5 pounds. What do you want me to tell you? Right. But
Yeah.
not everyone is comfortable with disclosing their why. And so I think really just respecting people's decisions in that is important. And you're right. If you know you have a family or friend that is struggling with substance use disorder or managing their disease in that way, then yes, really being thoughtful to that is important as we're gathering for the holidays. It is. It's really
Yeah.
important.
We always like to say that, people have to handle their own stuff, but I think as we gather, it's a great time to come around and support people who are handling stuff, right? There's nothing. And also, if anybody needs, this is a great one. If you need a reason, like if you are struggling or you're just laying off of booze or you have a concern about yourself and you're laying low a little bit, just tell people that you're doing 75 hard. Have you heard about this program? Oh my gosh. It's a little psycho, I have to say, but it kicks the conversation in a different direction and off of you. So 75 Hard is a health improvement plan. I don't know, it's very intense, but it's 2 workouts a day, absolutely no booze. It is a healthy eating plan. You have to read 10 pages of a book every day, and you have to take a picture of yourself. And so it's an extreme program, right? But when you start to talk to someone about 75 hard, they're like, "Oh, I could never do that," or "Wow, that." And so all of a sudden, the conversation moves off of the fact that you aren't drinking onto
Okay.
something else.
To something crazier.
Exactly. And so have those things in your tool belt so that you can divert people because like I just sadly went to a funeral and we all went out to all the friends from college went out to dinner afterwards before we all drove 3 hours home from the funeral and I wasn't drinking. And it was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, oh, I don't know, guys. I've been up since 5 a.m., drove back and forth till I have a 3 hour drive back from Long Island right now. Oh, well, you can have one drink. I'm like, I just said no.
Exactly.
Like, why do
Exactly.
I have to justify this idea that I don't want one? It was I don't, and also I don't need one. Like, I don't need. I'm cool in and of myself. Well, I'm not that cool. Kim's a lot cooler than I am, but
No, I get it
maybe
though.
we're equal cool. I'm not
Not
really,
me. I
right?
get forced all the time into having like a glass of wine when I really don't. Half the time I'll put it down somewhere where someone won't notice it. So I just go get my water. But I get so tired of arguing. It's easier
Yeah.
to. Mhm.
Right. Yeah. And you can walk around with a red solo cup filled with water. No one's going to know the difference. Put a little seltzer in there. And we are not saying, by the way, hide from people, but we know that people are incredibly intrusive into your lives. And again, it helps you establish boundaries and keep something. If you want to keep it private for yourself, keep it private for yourself. Like no one says you have to discuss your drinking habits. It's not, all you really have to do is pay taxes, right? So,
Yeah.
and then again, if you are struggling with addiction and you're going into a party, maybe that's not the best place for you to be. Or, again, call a hotline because there's so many available to you. And then if you get home and you're struggling, call a sponsor, call a hotline. Or I can bet if you start putting the texts out to your friends, you will find people that are also alone. And wait, one more important point, set yourself up for success, right? So at least if you can't be like, yeah, people have friends all over the country. We meet people in different support groups. So set yourself up for success also. Schedule a Zoom with them at 11 o'clock to watch the ball drop or go to
Yep.
bed. Might be healthier.
Yep. That's true. This is true. This is true. So obviously, I think the message both you and I wanted to give today is to use all your tools in your tool belt throughout the holidays, right? Because you probably need them more now than you do maybe other times of the year. But to use those tools, right? There's a lot of tools out there. There may be a friend, there may be family. It might be the opposite. Maybe your friends help you with your family, or your family helps you with your friends. Um,
Amen.
Maybe it's a hotline, whatever it may be. But just we're really encouraging all of you to use your tools so that you can try to find some peace and happiness throughout the holidays.
Yeah, no one should walk out of the holidays stressed out. I walked out of Thanksgiving a little stressed out, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm trying to make all these other people happy. I'm not happy. And it's my holiday too. It turns out it's your holiday too.
Mm.
Very important. Okay,
Yeah.
Kim. So we will have exciting things to talk about in the new year with Beach Chip, as everyone is coming off of the thrill of making resolutions that they then are not sticking to, correct?
This
So
is
if
true.
you're planning to kick smoking, we got you covered. Beach
We
Chip's got
do.
you covered. And if you want to get healthier, there's so many resources in the area. You want to address some mental health issue, whatever you want to do, Beach Chip's got you covered. So we will, of course, be reminding everybody of all of that in the new year.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a happy, healthy holiday on your own terms.
Mm,
Wouldn't that be lovely?
amen.
Okay, let's say stop that one.